This lesson video will guide you in creating in-text citations for your evidence-based essay in English 2. Let's talk about sources. Before we talk about citing sources, I want to make sure you understand how sources are connected to your essay. For this writing unit, you have several sources. The sources are the works of literature provided for you. From these sources, you'll find textual evidence that supports the position you're taking on the essay prompt. When you put textual evidence in your writing, you need to cite. You need to tell where you found the information. Whenever you're writing an essay, there's one very important step that must be followed: citing sources. Citing sources means telling your reader the sources you used for your writing. You must give credit to the owner of the information that you use in your essay, otherwise it's plagiarism. To plagiarize means you're presenting something as your idea instead of information from an existing source. There are three types of in-text citations. There are two places where you cite your sources: within your text, the essay, and in the Works Cited page at the end of your essay. On the Works Cited page, you provide more complete information about your source. In-text citations are required for textual evidence in your essay, whether it's a direct quotation, paraphrased wording, that's when you take the author's words and put them in your own words, or a summary. The next few slides teach you the guidelines for these three types of in-text citations you may use for your essay. Let's start with quotations. If you're using the exact same words, something the author says or something one of the characters says, as they appear in the story, you must put quotation marks around the words. At the end of the quotation, place your quotation marks, but before you put the end punctuation, you put in the in-text citation. The end mark goes after the ending parentheses. Here's a model. You have your quote. You have your in-text citation, the author's last name and the paragraph number where it came from, and there's your end mark. Continuing with quotations. Sometimes authors quote somebody else in their article. Then the ITC includes quoted in the citation. That's QTD period stands for quoted. Here's a model. There's your quote. It was quoted, here's the in-text citation. It was quoted in this work, this author's last name. There's your end mark. If there's no author, the ITC in-text citation contains the first main word of the title in the quotation marks along with the paragraph number. There's your model. There's a quote, the main word in quotation marks, the paragraph number, the in-text citation. There's the end mark. Here are some models taken from To Kill a Mockingbird. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. That's a direct quotation from the author of the book. There's the in-text citation, and because it's a book, we're able to use a page number instead of a paragraph number, and notice where the end mark is. Suddenly I was ashamed, and I did not like being ashamed. Now this is a short story. It's directly quoted from the author, but it's a short story with the author's last name and a paragraph number. I smiled, but he poked out his tongue. The quote is taken directly from an author, but this is a poem, so the in-text citation uses the stanza number. Paraphrasing. You paraphrase information if you put the information from the source that you want to use as evidence into your own words. That means you should not use the same words at all, but should express the same idea in mostly your own words. Even though you're using your words, you are still borrowing the idea, and that's the reason you must cite the information with an in-text citation. Here's a model. There's the paraphrased information, and this should start to be familiar to you. This is the in-text citation, author's last name, paragraph number, and end mark. Here's a model from Robert F. Kennedy's speech. Our country does not need hate and segregation. We need to be thoughtful and caring. Now, this is a paraphrase of a quote, and it was in his speech in paragraph 7. Now, here's what the quote looked like. Here's the exact quote. What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but it's love and wisdom. And you can see the paraphrase captures the same idea, but does not use the exact same words. Summarizing. Summarizing is used usually with big works. You could take a whole short story and summarize it in a few sentences. You summarize information from a source when you take the main ideas and reduce them to fewer words by focusing on just the important points. A paraphrase presents the original information in about the same number of words, or sometimes more words, but a summary is shorter than the original text. For example, you might summarize in your own words in one paragraph a whole article that is a page or longer. As a writer, you must make it clear to your reader when you're presenting a summary, and then you must cite your information. Summary, author's last name, and if you're taking something from a page, you would add the page number. There, in-text citation, and the end mark. Here's a model for summarizing from Robert F. Kennedy's speech. Robert F. Kennedy's speech encouraged all Americans to stay focused on unity, love, and wisdom, not negative feelings that could result in devastating results. That takes that long speech and capsulizes it in one sentence. You will be practicing this skill using the sources for your essay. As you find the textual evidence to support your reasons, you'll be placing that information in the charts as either quotes or paraphrases. You also will be properly citing the source. The complete instructions for your assignments are in the steps as you go through this unit. Your teacher is available should you need extra assistance.